Got Your Back Podstream is brought to you by Kinprint. For all your company's promotional needs, they do it all. Apparel, promotional products using the highest quality brands. They do logo design, signage, and printing. Kinprint will promote your brand with excellence. Visit kinprint.ca.
We say all the right things, and we just can't seem to do the right things right now. And
we're relentless in trying to cultivate the next solution and find the next answer. We are leaving no stone unturned.
No stone unturned, and so it should be. The Edmonton Oilers looking to get themselves out of this funk, and this 3-game road trip might be just what the doctor ordered. Welcome to Got Your Back, Sunday night's live stream edition. We got the entire crew ready to rock and roll tonight. Steve Taylor in Kelowna, working the controls, taking your comments for Ask Us Anything. Rob Brown and Jason Strudwick will be standing by here to break it all down. Got Your Back is always brought to you by our fantastic title sponsor, Sherwood Buick GMC, Canada's #1 GMC dealership, 5 years running. Purchase a new or used vehicle and mention that the guys at Got Your Back sent you. Not only will you receive specialized pricing as a bonus, you'll also get 3 free ultimate detail packages as well. That's on a new or a used vehicle. So visit Phil and the crew in Sherwood Park, or you can check them out online, www.gmcpod.com. We're coming to you from the beautiful, upgraded Long Shot studio here in Sherwood Park. Long Shots available for corporate events, by the way. So much more than just golf. Check them out at longshots.ca. I've been in there a couple of times when companies have had their employees in for a little golfing afternoon, and looks like a ton of fun. As we check in with the fellas, Rob Brown and Jason Strudwick. I'm getting a little laggy here. My feed is a little soupy. Not sure how you guys are doing. Can you hear me? Can you see me okay?
Yeah, we're good.
No, you got nothing. Hey, Brownie, 0.
No, I can't hear. Are you talking? I think we need more Struds. You know what? You just mute it. We'll listen to Struds today.
Yeah, well, I'll just hang up and listen to you guys. Hey, by the way, can I start with a Costco beef? This is kind of like a Shoggy's World segment instead of Struddy's World. Do you guys care? I got a beef about something to do with Costco.
You're the only person in Edmonton that goes to Costco on a Sunday? What a crazy thing.
So anyway, Struds, I've got a friend. You're just going to indulge me here. I got a buddy. He shall remain nameless, Murray. Conservatively speaking, 6 trips to Costco a week. Loves it. He loves it. By the way, an avid listener of the podcast, listens all the time. So this will be big for Murray. 6 trips to Costco a week. Now, I was talking to his wife about it. This is the thing, guys. If they just need milk, he hops in the car and goes to Costco for milk. If they just need, bread, he'll just hop in and bring back bread. As somebody who goes to Costco feeding a family of 7, I just think it is a major bogey to go to Costco when all you need is one thing. You're taking up a parking spot. You're slowing the place down. You're taking up a place in line. You're taking an already busy place and jamming it up even more. There is a reason to go to Costco. Many of us have a reason to go to Costco. Stay out of the way, those of you that are looking for one thing. Go to a gas station. Go to a grocery store. Minimum 5 items to go to Costco, or you're just getting in the way. Murray, gentlemen?
Brownie, go ahead, buddy. I think this one's for you.
Well, I mean, the girl at the checkout is cute. So if you go one by one to buy things,
I agree.
Well, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, but that's not Murray. That's not Murray. He just loves it there. He just wants to go hang. And I'm just saying, for those of us that wander around, Struds, have you ever been to Costco? Do you do any of the shopping?
Oh, yeah, I go. Yeah, I'm not going to brag, but I get a pretty significant rebate every year from
Look
I don't wanna
at you,
start
Mister.
talking-
I won't brag.
I don't want to start talking about it, but it's deep into the triple digits that
So am I
American
right or
suck
am
on
I
that.
wrong? Like, come
No,
on,
you're
one
wrong.
item mucking the place up.
For me, the biggest issue with Murray isn't the fact that he's clogging up the parking lot. I always park a long ways away. I like to walk through. I like people seeing my tight jeans. What I don't understand is going through that whole process for a loaf of bread. My dad does the same thing. He goes there for 2% milk, a gallon of 2% milk. He literally has to drive by another store to go to Costco. And I argue with him all the time. It's like, it's cheaper. I said, but you're spending more money on gas and time that are both valuable. And so I don't know, maybe my dad and Murray play cards there. I don't know what's going on, but I don't get it. But again, big rebate, guys. Big.
But have you
Stop
ever
bragging.
gone to Costco and walked by the oven baked chicken at the back and not bought it? Like, I seriously,
Yes.
I buy that every time, and I got like pleather seats in my truck, and like I eat that on the way home. Like,
No,
I
you
rip
don't.
off one of the. I do. Honest to God, I do. I rip it off.
What kind of an animal
A couple
are you?
times it has fallen as I've ripped it off. It's fallen on the floor, and then my car stinks like chicken for a while. But it smells so good. You cannot not eat it when you're driving home in the car.
First off, you don't have leather seats or Saskatchewan seal skin. And number two, I find they're very dry. And I've already gone through this whole thing. I find them to be dry.
Wasn't that
But
a
I like-
Struds
Are
World?
you kidding
Did
me?
he
It was.
dedicate an
I do.
entire Struddy's World
I find they're dry.
to
They're dry.
chicken?
I love chicken.
The oven baked one, the one that's ready to be
I know.
eaten. That one.
I know, with the black bottom and the clear lid. I know it, buddy. I've been
Yeah.
there. I've also gone there. I really
Are
get
you
a
the
lot
same
of
guy that wanted to ban cranberries? Is that you too?
the cranberries. I've had so much support. I've had so much support with that.
You are a princess. Seriously, you
Oh.
are a high maintenance princess.
I'm not. Why? Because I don't like dry chicken.
Yeah. You know what I totally forgot for tonight's podcast? We did an interview with Drew Doughty this week, and I asked him about the cranberry sauce to Struts, because apparently I'm having trouble letting this go. We'll do that on a different podcast. We did some rapid fire with Drew Doughty and talked to him a bit about Connor McDavid. I was going to run that here in the local podcast. We are live streaming on Twitter and on YouTube, and we love the comments that are coming in here in the Weiss Johnson YouTube mentions. We need to figure out a name for that, by the way. Like our inbox, the guys at Edmonton Sports have the nasty chat. We need to figure out something to call ours. So Cole Smith, hey boys, first time watching live, longtime pod listener, great work. Unlike our Oilers, thanks Cole. And we'll get to more of this in our Ask Us Anything. Can't relate, no Costco and PS. Andrew, where was the other one that I liked? There was a good comment here. Why did Costco stop serving the fried wings? Some stranger wants to know. Brownie, did you do the fried wings?
No, and I've never actually had a hot dog at Costco. I hear you get the hot dog and a pop for like $1.50 or something. I've never done that.
Yeah. Isn't it weird to spend $700 on groceries and then get lunch for $6? That's just it's just a weird thing that you can do that all in one day. Okay, Oiler Nation is burning, and we're talking about ready-made
Murray.
chickens and hot dogs. Thanks, Murray.
Murray
Thanks a lot, Murray. That one's
with
on
one
you,
R.
buddy.
He's probably the kind of guy that has one R for Murray.
It's actually Murray.
Yeah.
Okay, time for the breakdown, brought to you by Adrenaline Diesel, Edmonton's heavy-duty diesel truck repair shop. A unique shop for two reasons. Their ability to do custom jobs, right? They do custom exhaust, custom engines, custom body work. And if you can think of it, they can do it. And they are also the Ghostbusters, right? If you've got a problem that others just can't figure out, Marty and his staff, they get obsessed. They will not quit until they solve your problem. They love that challenge. High standards, great service. Visit adrenalinediesel.ca. Quick outline of the podcast. We're going to talk about the coaching situation here in the breakdown segment. We're going to deal with that in the first segment. Second segment, going to be a little bit more solution oriented, right? What should Woodcroft be doing with his lineup? We're going to go through what we would do with the lines for tomorrow night's game, because that was such a smashing success last time we did that here on the pod. And we'll just talk about different strategies and stuff that they could employ. Struddy's World. Struds, are you hitting Oilers over the head or punching them in the heart, or are you going with lighter fare tonight? Let's just let them keep doing this, guys. Yeah, just keep
Oh,
talking.
does it ever
Struds.
sound good?
God, sorry.
That was the
That's
best
the
Struddy's
sound
World
is-
has sounded.
I just sold a solution on how the Oilers to solve all their problems. So
Oh,
you missed
but you
out.
forget. Lighter fare in Struddy's World.
Slider, yeah. We'll have it. And Brownie's gonna love this one. He's gonna
Okay.
love it.
I love it. And Brownie,
It'll
you're
be a
hanging in for the
first.
whole thing, right? You're hanging in for the whole show, Brownie?
Well, I'm gonna like a Struddy's World. I haven't yet, so I got to see this.
It'll
one.
be a first. Is that what you said? That's awesome.
Yeah.
First, what a prick.
But just so people know, offline, I said to Brownie, or I was saying to the guys we were talking, and I said, tonight in Struddy's World, are you going to? And Brownie cuts me off and goes, you guys are still doing that thing? Which is probably gem of the night. And it wasn't even in the show. It wasn't even in the show.
He's being such a Murray right now.
He's being a major Murray right now. And then in our Ask Us Anything segment, you folks on the stream will be able to dig in, ask us whatever questions that you have. Okay, let's get serious. I'm going to click into reporter mode here for a second, guys. I'm going to give you the latest as I know it on the coaching situation and what my sense is, and then we'll have a broad discussion about it. And if you saw SportsCenter today, I did a lot of this reporting on SportsCenter as well. Here is my sense of where things are at. It is early, but given the record and given the expectations on this team, it is not too early to be discussing if a coaching change is in the cards. I believe that it is on the table right now. I believe that, if 10 out of 10 is when you're firing a coach, we're at a solid 7.5 or an 8 right now. And that's just reality. The expectations were high on this team and they have not performed in a lot of ways, and they can't continue to just let this roll without seeing some sort of change and needing to make some significant change. So I believe right this second, nothing is imminent, but this 3-game road trip is going to determine a tremendous amount. And I believe, gentlemen, if there is not significant results on this 3-game road trip, I think there will be change. So that is my, instinct. That's my sense as a guy that covers the team every day on where things lie right now. Struds, you and I chatted about this a little bit last night, so we'll get to you second on this. But Brownie, what would you say to the idea that just 10 games into the season, that option is already on the table?
Well, I believe it'll be Sutter. Babcock will be the assistant, and Mark Crawford will come in just to do shootouts at the very end of the game. I think it's a done deal. And they're going to announce it Tuesday morning.
Oh, 3-year deals. 3-year deals all around.
Well, yes, obviously. They're not going to come for a 2-year deal. I still think the Edmonton Oilers are going to be a playoff team as long as they stay healthy. I do think there's a lot of track that is still left. I said last night in our show that on the course of the season, there's 2 players that I would say have played up to their capabilities. I think Evander Kane the last 5 games has been very good, and I think Warren Fogel's been good all season long. Outside of those 2, I don't think there's a single Oiler that has played up to their capabilities. Now, is that on the players, is that on the coach, or is it on both? I think it's on both. I think this coaching staff has to be held accountable for the fact that this team hasn't been held accountable. They have taken undisciplined penalties, and there's been nobody has been held accountable for that. They've had 4 too many men on the ice penalties, and that's on the player, but that's also on the coach. There's been lack of emotion, a lack of good defensive detail, yet there's been no accountability to the players. So I think if this coaching staff wants to stay and continue to go forward, and I think he's capable, there has to be an accountability, and it has to start in Vancouver. So I do believe everything you said there, that because of the expectations of where the Oilers should be. And it's not just the record right now for the Edmonton Oilers. It's the way they're playing, the way they're it's a defensive mess. And the coaching staff talked about we're going to be a good defensive team. That is why I do believe that, yes, this has to be a good road trip. The Oilers have to win 2 of 3 on this road trip, I believe, for the coaching staff to be fully, for the coaching staff to still be here a week from now.
Struds?
Yeah, you make a lot of good points, Brownie. I'm going to counter this. Since Jay Woodcroft has come in, he's been one of the winningest coaches in that time span in the NHL with this team. So did he just suddenly forget how to coach the team, or did the team turn him off? I don't think that he forgot how to coach. I don't think the team has turned him off. I still go back to my main thing. I think this team was feeling too comfortable heading into the season, and they were looking to play at hockey, not looking at today. So I think that's a fault of both the players and the coaches not recognizing that. To be fair, I didn't see that either coming out from here. So I'm not going to go back and hammer on them. When I look at the defensive part, this system, we coach a lot of different kids. They're different ages, and you can coach them different ways. And specifically for the D-men, there are core things that a D-man must do to be a good defender. A defender here, I'm talking. And the Oilers D as a group, individual at different times, have dropped the ball on that. That is not coaching. That is individual habits. Those guys would have been told that since they were 10 years old. And so, when we're talking about defending, strictly defending, now I don't think the goalies have helped a ton, but I don't think that they're the main issue. But I'm looking at the defenders. I just don't, and then I'll include the forwards in this for when you're talking about their system. Just core things that are, it doesn't matter what system you play, you don't let the other guy get inside position on you, right? We saw that happen 2 times last night with Ryan O'Reilly. When you're defending in the neutral zone, you don't jump in front of someone hoping you're going to get at best a 50-50 puck. We saw that last night. So I think this is more on the players that are not delivering the energy that's required to play a full 60 minutes in the NHL. So I'm more patient with the coaching staff than I think that many people are here in the city.
So Struds, if this doesn't get turned around here, I mean, they've got Vancouver, they've got San Jose, and they've got Seattle. I mean, that is a road trip that the doctor ordered big time. And here's why. The Vancouver Canucks stole this team's mojo.
Yeah.
They were the ones that kicked them right in the pills opening night. And then the Oilers had a chance to counterpunch, and though they played better, they didn't. So the Vancouver Canucks firmly have the Oilers in their hip pocket. The Oilers have a chance to go grab some of that back. And I think when you can punch the bully in the mouth that dropped you the week before, I think that can be meaningful. So they can start this trip with some jam that way. Then you got San Jose. They've given up 20 goals in their last 2 games. And then Seattle. That is a beatable team most nights for the Edmonton Oilers. So I'm not surprised that no changes were made because they're looking at this runway going, okay, if the plane can't take off with that runway, it ain't taking off. And that's the same thing I would suggest. If you can't grab 5 out of 6 points on this road trip, there's a major problem. And that's why I'm very interested to see what happens here over the next set of 3 games. But Struds, if the results aren't there after this road trip, really, you think it's still tenable?
Well, let's see how it starts out on Monday. What I would be really pissed off going into Vancouver if I was an Edmonton Oilers player, like really fired up and ready to go and to set the tone and to as you say, push back. I love that idea. And then San Jose, I think the Bakersfield Condors could beat them. And then I think Seattle, you go in there. And so, that's probably like, I think tomorrow's a hard game. Vancouver's playing well. I think we all we're thinking about the team that was maybe the last couple of years. That's not that team right now. They're a good team. They're playing so fast. The Oilers look slow beside them. So how do you get going? Well, you got to get going and move the puck quicker and skate faster and all those things. But this isn't an easy game. This is a really hard game. So, 5 of 6 points, I think that's going to be really hard. So let's say they get 4. Is that enough to keep the coach in line? So I think I'm looking at results, but I'm also looking at change. Is the team trending in the right direction after these 3 games? And I think we'll see immediately Monday night. Do they come out pissed? And that means
But
driving
let's think about this though. Yeah. I'm going to challenge you a little bit here.
Okay.
Why is 5 out of 6 points hard on this road trip? You've got the Vancouver Canucks, who there should be no lack of motivation, zero lack of. The Oilers should bring the best game of their season. You expect that from them.
Yeah.
If they don't pull a point out of that game, something's gone wrong.
Well, you can't.
And then look at their next 2 opponents, and they've got rest in between.
They're really good. Vancouver's a really good team right now. So that's not, I don't think that's a fair comment to make. So let's say they lose 2-1 there in regulation. And so they only get 4 points. So, what's going on? I think you have to look how the team is playing as well. Vancouver's good. They're a really good team, guys. I think we got to be careful about
I don't know where your expectations for the Oilers drop through the floor here, Brownie. Where did the standard, where did the standard go?
Well, so my thought on this one,
the first 10
Strides.
games.
Yeah. So my thoughts on this here, guys, is And this is why I said they got to come with 2 out of 3 wins, because I agree with Struds on the fact that Vancouver, through 10 games, there's no comparison between the two teams. Now, I think the Oilers have got to come out and there's got to be push, and they've got to come and play their best game of their season. But if their best game of the season and Vancouver's best game of the season, and they go head to head on Monday, who's to say the Oilers win that game? So I think the Oilers have to have a competitive game against Vancouver where there's pushback, there's emotion, there's anger, all of those things. And then they go and they beat up on San Jose, because I think the three of us could find 2 other guys and get Joaquin Gage, and we could beat San Jose right now. So that one's a freebie. And then they should beat Seattle. So though this is where I don't think it's all coaching here. I don't. But in this 3-game set, where there are 2 games that they should win, and as you said, Ryan, is the game against Vancouver, there should be some revenge factor. If they are not playing really well at the end of this week, then there's something seriously wrong.
Never mind the end of this week.
Seriously wrong.
From the puck drop tomorrow night, man. Struds, like...
Well, I know, that's what I mean, but it's got to be all 3 games.
Thinking that the Oilers should walk into Vancouver against a team that did that to them to start the year and bring their absolute best game. And if we believe that the Oilers are the team that we thought they were at the start, they're just not playing like it. If they bring what they should bring to the rink, then you need at least a point against the Vancouver Canucks, Struds. That's not ridiculous. If they come out of that game without any points, the temperature goes up even more.
Yeah, I don't know. They're a hot team right now. They're really hot. I can't put that. So are you saying if they get no points, you'd put Jay Woodcroft on in a taxi Monday night after the game?
No, I mean, I think it will matter how they play, right? If it's a lackluster effort and they're talking about lost puck battles and stuff, all bets are off for sure. Yeah, but then you look at the 4 points on the table and you think, are those 2 games enough to salvage it, right? So I think it's this road trip.
I agree. I think it's the road trip, but I don't think that Vancouver's a make or break. I think they spank San Jose and then they go in and have a very good game in Seattle. There's your 4 points. Add to how they play in Vancouver. Not so much the outcome, but how they play.
Compromise.
They played without emotion. They've just played without emotion.
Yeah. They've been listless, right? They didn't have any jump. I think Brownie nails it. So, look, when you're playing poorly, you don't just turn it on the next game. You know, it takes time to get that game going and get it ready. And I recognize they don't have a lot of time, but I think it's, what was the game against Winnipeg? We thought, that was, what was that, the 3rd or 4th game of the year? We thought that was maybe a turning point. And we've had some ups and downs since then, but now I would say that the game against Nashville was not a step forward. So I'm looking for a step forward in Vancouver, then 2 good games, and then bang, you come home and you see what you can put together. You got to look for some like what did we like in the game against Nashville? What was like the power play was the second power play scored finally, like I've talked about, should start them every time. Then
every time.
But what was really good? The rush to Denny Fran, the rush wasn't great. In front of your net wasn't great. The goaltending was okay. Power play was okay. Penalty kill 1 for 3, I think, if I remember. Like, what did we like about it? Like, where's the step in the right direction with that group in that game?
Yeah. Yeah, this is going to be really interesting. A couple of things to point out here quick. We kind of got sidetracked there a little bit, but Jay Woodcroft has a history of showing he can turn this group around, right? If you remember when he first got here, right? The team was in the tank, Brownie. And he came in and new coach bounce for sure. But they were a better team under Jay Woodcroft, right? He showed that he can pull levers and push buttons and find improvement. Last season, they start with 7 wins in their first 10 games. Their second segment of 10 games, they lost 7. And by the way, they gave up 40 goals against in that 10-game stretch. 4 goals a game. Sound familiar? So when Leon Draisaitl said today, we've been here before, it's kind of what he means. It's just different because it was from the start of the season. But they lost 7 out of 10 games and gave up 40 goals last year. Their next segment of 10 games, they won 7 out of 10, and they gave up 30 goals. So Jay Woodcroft has shown he can find answers. And I believe that, coupled with the fact that McDavid and Draisaitl are not producing, which will kill any coach. I think that is what is buying him the time that he has, and why they're letting it ride here through this road trip, and then we'll see what happens. Now, the case against, I mean, just look at all the numbers defensively. It's just a train wreck defensively. And he had the stated goal of improving this team defensively this year. Nothing has worked. It's been a disaster. I don't care if you want to point to individual mistakes. I don't care. They've gotten worse. They're giving up the 30th most goals against per game in the league. Complete failure on that front. So there is a body of work here in both ways, Brownie.
Well, I agree. That's why to me, he's not fired. But if they go through this week, and they are, as you said, these are winnable games. The 2 games are winnable. They should come with 4 points minimum on this.
Yeah.
And if they don't have that, well, now all of a sudden you're getting into that's 13 games into the season, and the team's not playing the way it should be. To me, the biggest thing is it's not just the wins and losses, it's how they're playing. And it's a team that's right now looks like they lack confidence. It's a team right now that's very frustrated. A team at time that looks confused on the ice, especially defensively. They lack emotion, and you know they lack emotion because in the last 3 games, when Desharnais scored and when Gagner scored, you saw pure emotion. But we remember it because that's the only emotion that we saw in the last 3 games. So those are the things that bother me as someone watching the team. Is this is not a team that looks like they're A, enjoying it, or B, have any swagger at all. So the wins and losses will come when the swagger comes, or the wins will come when the swagger comes back, but they have no swagger right now. And I think that's what's disappointing. This is a team that talked right from the first captain's gate, Stanley Cup or bust, and we are going to be a better defensive team. And they haven't shown any of that.
You know, Brownie, you make a good point. I think it's really hard, though, to have that swagger when your top 2 most dominant players of the last number of years don't have a swagger. You know, like if you are whoever, Holloway, you look over and see Leon hasn't scored in 2 weeks, you're like, oh my God, this guy hasn't scored. And you can tell he's not himself. Like and not to put it all on at their feet, but a big part of the solution would be those guys banging out some huge games, right? And to be fair, that's what we've come to expect. Whether that's fair or not, that's what we've come to expect. How many times in the past have we said, oh man, the Oilers have lost 2 in a row, or Connor's going to go crazy tonight? And he does. 2 goals and an assist, Leon, a goal and 2 assists, whatever, bang, bang, bang. Like, have we seen that this year yet? So they need those, like that swagger starts with those 2 studs. They're absolute studs. They need them.
So let me ask you this. Who has shown any sign of being willing to step outside their comfort zone in an effort to find better results? Like, we're watching these games and we know what each of these players is roughly capable of. And we know the areas of their game that, you know, their strengths and weaknesses are. To me, it's a certain amount of this is internal accountability too, right? Who's stepping outside their comfort zone looking for answers? Who's doing something different? Who's the player who you're going, whoa, okay, that guy is playing with some desperate energy right now. Wow, did you see what he just did? He doesn't normally do that, right? Nobody is showing in their actions that the sense of urgency is where it needs to be. And I'm not talking about just dropping the gloves and fighting or this or that. I'm talking about players going out and it being very clear that guy is all in tonight. Holy smokes. And maybe it goes in for him or maybe it doesn't, but look at the way he's playing the game. He is stepping outside his comfort zone because he's desperate. This group does not have that. They do not have individuals who are taking it upon themselves to do that. And that is something that you can control, Struds.
Yeah, I think the most recent example would be Sam Gagner, right? He just came in and he was not going to be denied.
Bingo.
He was on the 5th line and then he ended up on the 2nd line, right? By the end of the game. And that's exactly what you need. I would say, I think Brownie nailed it with Kane and Fogle. I think those 2 guys, they've been bringing it most nights. You're like, they're noticeable, right? But other than that, they're the forward group as a whole, you're right. We haven't seen it. So how do you get a team turned around? There needs to be somehow to create energy. There needs to be a creation of energy out of nowhere. And sometimes it could just start with a block shot, a face-off win. Fighting is, kind of leaving the game. But that's one way you can do it. Although the Oilers aren't really built for that right now. But finishing hits, a good energy shift in the other team's end where you're in there for 30, 40 seconds and they're just, rolling around on roller skates. Like those are way, but then then it's one thing to happen once, but then the next group has to come out and do something. Then the next group after that, and you have to keep building on it. Then all of a sudden you realize like, geez, we're not drowning anymore. We actually may have something going. So I don't know if it's just, I agree. Someone has to start it, but then it has to be keeping going and keep that.
It's a shared responsibility, Brownie. It's a shared responsibility. Ryan McLeod can't skate around out there thinking it's not my job to finish checks. Like I've never really done that. And like, no, that's not my thing, right? Other guys do that. So it's okay if I don't. It's a shared responsibility. There are things that are hard to do, some harder than others. And players need to understand they have to do their share, especially when times are tough. They got guys tiptoeing through the tulips out there, just like, not my job. And that's mind-boggling with the situation being what it is.
Well, yeah, and I do believe that Kane has gone outside. He's done I thought in the last 5 games he's done everything. I thought he's showing me things I didn't think he was capable of offensively.
Yeah, that's 2.
He's made some. Pardon?
That's 2.
There's 2. Oh, and then and Sam Gagner. You're right. Those are the only 3 guys. I agree. And the thing is, most of the Oilers are offensive players, and it's hard to score goals in the National Hockey League. What's not hard to do is throw a hit. What's not hard to do is lay down and block a shot. What's not hard to do is go 100 miles an hour on a back check. So when things aren't going right one way, do those things. When there's a puck in the crease, dive in there. That's like Sam Gagner scored his goal. Even if the puck's not there, at least you run into a defenseman or a goaltender. But what you do is you show heart. You show you care. I think the Oilers at times have been too perimeter. And I think in the National Hockey League, for example, Ryan McLeod, take the puck to the net. Drive the net. Put your head down. Sometimes you're going to get hammered. But there's going to be sometimes you create a scoring chance. And there's going to be sometimes that you create a power play because you're fast. Those are the things that some of the other players have to do up front. And getting outside, everybody notices when you do something that's just not your norm. Everyone on the bench will notice.
Brownie, I disagree.
If someone blocks a shot.
Yeah.
If someone blocks a shot, players on the bench notice that. I mean, what's that kid? They scored the others scored the other night on the power play. But was it number 3 or number 7 for Nashville? Lazon or something like that. He blocked 3 slap shots in a row. He went down, got back up. And even though the Oilers scores, when he goes to the bench, the entire bench is patting him on the back. That's what the Oilers need more of.
Struddy, Brownie, I disagree with you that it's easy to throw hits and that it's easy to block shots and that it's easy to take pucks to the net. And Struds, like, let me bounce this off you, Struds. Those 3 things take courage. They take courage because when you run around and skate hard and finish checks, someone might get mad and punch you in the face. When you take the puck hard to the net, people might get angry at you. Blocking shots isn't fun. It hurts. These things take incredible commitment and incredible courage. And not enough players are willing to do these things regularly.
Yeah, but I think Brownie kind of answered that. Is that most Oilers are offensive, and they've always been offensive. So, they're just not trained to do that. They've never had to do it. The guys at the bottom of the roster kicking around, they're desperate. They'll do anything. They'll block anything just to stay in the NHL, right?
Yeah.
So, but they are easy to do in that they don't require skill. Standing in front of a 90-mile-an-hour slap shot is not a skill play. You just have to get in the way. Anyone could do it. It hurts. It hurts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Finishing a check on someone, right? Someone might get hurt. But let's look at this Vancouver Canuck team. Which of those people would you not want to get upset with you? I'm like JT Miller. He's always grumpy, but I mean, I would have loved to fought that guy if he was mad at me. Like, what? You're mad?
Everybody goes 6'6", 325 like you did when you played.
No, but just like there's no one to be scared of. Like who on that team? Is it Dakota? There's
Dakota Joshua. Yeah.
Yeah, he's tough. He's a tough guy, but still, like, you're not losing sleep over that, So
you're not. You don't think you are? If you're a guy that doesn't normally do that, and you got to run around and finish checks, and he might come knocking.
Oh, not in today's NHL. No,
I agree.
Not in today's NHL.
If you're Ryan McLeod, you run him over, and he comes over and says, "You want to fight?" You're like, "No," and just skate away.
Yeah.
Boom. That's how you do. And then you go and run someone else, and then he comes and takes a penalty on you, and now you come back to the bench like a conquering hero. Connor McDavid scores on the power play. Bang. I'll send you out of your funk. That's how quick it can happen, Brownie.
100%. And everything Streds has said is right. When I say it's easy to do those things, it's because it doesn't take talent. And I know, because at the end of my career, I stopped scoring goals and they made me go out and hit people. I'm like, hey, this isn't that hard. And then you just hit people and it's fun. You go back to the bench like, yeah, I hit 4 guys. 3 of them didn't notice because I wasn't very good at it. So I went out there and did it.
There's more like a rub.
But it's like, one night I said I was going to knock Zdeno Chara down. I ran him 18 times. 16 times I fell down. One time, I think I moved him 2 or 3 inches, and he kind of looked at me like, what are you doing? I don't know. Coach made me.
Yeah.
Rob Brown's appearances here on the podcast brought to you by Kinprint, though you wouldn't know it because his hat's still backwards. Like, we got to figure out the technology here. Steve,
you got a text line. Can't someone on the text line tell me how to fix it? I don't understand.
Steve, I think you can do that, can't you? I think you can flip-flop that in our program there, Steve. I mean, listen, I don't want you to crash the entire live stream, and I feel like every time we try and do something on the fly, that's a risk. But Kinprint, helping you push your business brand to the next level. Visit kinprint.ca. We've already screwed the show up. We basically just did the second segment in the first segment, the content. Now we've been talking about how to fix all the other problems. You're supposed to talk about coaching, but that's okay because we have to give our line combinations. So we'll do that coming up in the next segment. Before we wrap this segment, guys, there's lots of action here on the stream, and lots of people are saying you guys are completely out to lunch. Why are you talking about a coaching change? It's the general manager that needs to change. There's lots of that, and lots of people are screaming this loud from the hilltops, and I think, in fairness to them, we need to address it. I have my thoughts. Struds, I'll let you go first on this one.
Yeah, I'm not so concerned about the general manager's work. I believe that the lack of the salary cap going up has really held him back. I think that's really been a difficult thing. There are for one signing, I know for sure that a do-over would be Campbell. I think that has proved to be a difficult one to, give a green 2 thumbs up to. Last year was a very difficult season. This year has not been much better. So I think that's one that I'd be critical of for there. And I think that when you're looking at, some of the challenge they've had, every young player they've signed, Yamamoto, Puljujarvi, and now McLeod, for whatever reason, once they've got these deals, they've been unable to continue to develop. So is that on the GM or on the team or on the player themselves? I'm not sure, but I mean, if they had one of those guys that was working right now, including McLeod, who was playing at the level they expected, or to continue to develop, they seem to stall. And so that'd be my other major concern, Brownie.
Well, the roster that Ken Holland put together, everybody and their dog was picking to win the Stanley Cup a month ago. So it's the same roster. There's nothing changed. And a month ago, everyone thought this was, if not the best team in the NHL, in the top 3. So was everybody wrong, including Ken Holland? There's not going to be a GM change. The Oilers have got no cap space. They're playing with 21 players, and sometimes they're playing shorthanded. But this is the same team that everyone thought that Ken Holland put together, a Stanley Cup championship caliber team. So that means if everyone thought this was a good team and they're not playing well, that means they're underachieving. So is that still on the GM?
Yeah. So here's where I'm at on this. Ken Holland wears this. This is his team. The team has started the year with not enough players, which put a coach in a position where it made accountability hard, right? To scratch guys, to bench guys. And Ken Holland firmly put them in that position. His job is to manage the cap, right? Along with his staff. And they've put this team in a tough spot roster-wise as a result. The reason they're in that spot is because he went all in trying to get this team across the finish line last year, right? Like they went all in. And in a flat cap scenario, to try and be going all in, he's rammed them right up against this thing. But it would have been criminal of him not to have done that, to have taken this team and this roster and this organization and not to have used every single resource possible, including some of next year's, which they've done here with Connor Brown. So I understand why they're up against the cap. I get it. And there have been some mistakes, no question, and some big ones, right? The Campbell deal, I mean, that's tough. And that was one of the biggest jobs that he had to do. But bottom line, I believe this is his last year as GM. I think he's done, right? I don't think he wants to continue in the position. I would assume anyways. So the search is on for the succession plan. But that's not going to fix what's happening on the ice right now. There are much more pressing needs. So yes, he wears this too, but that isn't fixing what's ailing the Oilers right now, guys, to me.
Yeah, and now that Jeff Jackson's here, I mean, if it is indeed Ken Holland's last year, they'll go in a new direction, right? There's no buddy waiting in the wings that he won't. He's like, this is the next guy. He's going to look everywhere to get his guy in there.
Yeah. Okay, that was the breakdown brought to you by Adrenaline Diesel. That went long. We were like 38 minutes on the breakdown, so we got to slam these last 3 segments in here.
That's awesome. We can cut Struddy's World.
No, this one's a winner. This one's a winner. Warren or Murray.
Ronnie, you're relentless. Very short break, and then takeaways coming up. Steve, rather.
Hey everyone, it's Kelly here from United Sport and Cycle. The wait is over. United's annual Hockey Day sale is finally here. Save 20% off on select CCM and Bauer skates. Save 35% off on all Bauer and CCM Pro Stock sticks. And save up to 25% off on select Bauer and CCM equipment. And for you goalies, save up to 20% off select Bauer, Warrior, and CCM goal gear. Trust the experts at your home of hockey for over 95 years. United Sport and Cycle.
Are you ready to elevate your moving experience? Trusted for over 100 years, Ferguson Moving and Storage are your partners in relocation, ensuring your journey is smooth and stress-free. And say goodbye to surprises with Ferguson's transparent flat rate pricing. Contact them now for a free moving quote and use a promo code Ferguson to receive $100 off your next move. Visit FergusonMoving.com and let them lift your expectations.
Winter is upon us, so why not make the best of it? Marmot Basin Ski Resort is where it's at. Ski half price every day, no blackout periods. Pick up your escape card for $99 and make winter fun more affordable. Half the price, all the powder. Get yours at www.skimarmot.com.
All right, time for takeaways brought to you by Martin Motorsports. Ride in style this winter in new snow or sledding gear from Martin Motorsports. They carry all the top brands, right? 509, To Be, Ski-Doo, and their new 2024 lineup of winter gear is available now. If you use the code GOTYOURBACK, that's GOTYERBACK at checkout, you get $20 off your next order from Martin Motorsports, their online store. Easy and convenient, ships right to your door. Shop online, www.martinmotorsports.ca. I was on the website the other day. Pretty cool, all the different stuff that you can get. So definitely check it out and tell them that Got Your Back sent you. Line combination time, homework. You guys love it when I text you 30 minutes before the show and give you homework. So I know, Struddy, you scratched yours out on the back of a cocktail napkin. Brownie, you came close to acing the assignment last time. You won last time, so yeah. You get to. Strud, should he go first or should he go last this time?
Well,
he drop the hammer again.
I think he gets the choice. He killed it last time.
Struddy or Brownie first, last? You want to go last?
I'll let Struds go first because he always was last picked in all those things in gym and stuff like that. So I'll let him go first today.
Wow.
Not the school dances, buddy. Long lineup card. Long lineup card. So okay, I'm gonna go. So I just want to let you know what I was thinking. I wanted to move a couple things. Move McLeod off a center, put him on the wing. Each line I wanted to have a stud center, so Connor, Leon, Nuge, and then I tried to add some speed, some skill, and a little bit of grit to each line. So I'm spreading out, trying to make three lines that are all quite similar actually. So I've got Kane with McDavid and Sam Gagner. I've got Holloway on the left wing with Draisaitl and Hyman. And then I've got Fogle on the right side with Nuge, and then the aforementioned McLeod on the wing. He has lost the privilege, not the privilege, but just playing. I want him to use his speed, make his game very simple up and down the wing. So that's my 3 lines. And obviously that leaves Rafi, Hamblin, and Derek Ryan.
Okay, whip me through those top 6 again real quick, Streds.
Kane, McDavid, Gagne, Hyman, Draisaitl, Holloway, Fogle, Nuge, and the big guy, McLeod, on the wing.
So then you got Fogle over on right, and you've got Hyman over on right as well.
Yeah, Sam. Because I liked what I saw from Sam and Kane in bits and spurts here, especially in that first game that Sam played.
Mhm.
So I recognize that McDavid is much quicker than both those guys, but he is much quicker than most people. So but once you get that half court offense, I'm trying to create lines that can create some half court offense. I think that's something that's been missing.
So no bump for Lavoie then. He's kind of still where he was before, kind of in that 4th line range type thing.
He is for now, yeah.
One of the other guys. Okay, Brownie, what do you got, bud?
Well, actually, I'm quite close to Struds, although, and it was funny. I agreed with the chemistry that Kane and Gagne had, but I want Kane with McDavid, and honestly, I don't think Sam can play there. I don't think he can. His speed will keep up with Connor on the rush, and I think that's the problem. So I would have McDavid with Kane, and on the right-hand side, I had. Trying to think, who do I have? I had Nuge playing with Kane and McDavid. I had Nuge going on the right-hand side. I got Draisaitl playing center with Hyman and Holloway. I got Fogle because Fogle has been driving a line. I got Fogle with McLeod trying to get him going. And I have Gagne playing with those two because Gagne is playing with some jam. And I think that's what that line needs with McLeod. And then the 4th line, which is going to get 3.5 minutes on Monday night in Vancouver, they'll just be the same. Ryan, Lavoie, and Hamblin.
Interesting.
No, the thing is, again, we do these line things, and it's really just for the pregame skate because they really don't have line combinations.
Yeah. The problem is there's a lot of lefties, right? Like if you want to move McLeod to the wing, Struds, and you kind of have me rethinking things because I agree. What do you want to accomplish with the moves, right? I'd love it if there was a way you could get Ryan McLeod on Evander Kane's line and just get Evander Kane in on the forecheck and banging around a little bit and stuff. Like, I think you need to play Ryan McLeod with players who will demand that of him, quite frankly. So, you reminded me of that idea as you did your line. So I was kind of trying to edit mine on the fly with that in mind. But what's the pathway to getting those two on the same line? It's probably playing Kane on the left side and keeping McLeod in the middle, right? If you want those two out there together. But I would elevate Dylan Holloway, right? I would look at elevating him with McDavid. Maybe you got Gagne over on the other wing. Zach Hyman and Leon Draisaitl together. I think you need to keep Leon with some other top 6 guys. I'm not sure I'm strapping some youth and some bottom players I think there's too much frustration in his game right now. I think he needs people to make plays with for him to find his way through this. So I would probably keep, Hyman up there, but I'm kind of editing on the fly a little bit here because I do like the idea of Ryan McLeod shifting to the wing. It's just you can't get him with Evander Kane. So I'd like to see Ryan McLeod play with some guys that are a little more rough and tumble and bang around a little bit. Does that make sense? Would that help him?
I have no idea what your lines are. You just said a lot of things, and I like
you guys talk. I'll write them out here.
You're the guy who's like who just brings his homework and then just hears everybody else and slips it in at the end of the day. I honestly, I'm sorry. At some point, I thought you said Charlie Huddy at one point. I'm not even sure anymore where you're at. So this is what I'm going to say. Okay, if I am of the mindset to put McLeod in the wing, just to simplify his game, say, buddy, you've got to get up and down. You got to finish some checks and just to give him a bit of a change, but also to put my strengths down the middle. I do like strengths down the middle of my guy. And I like Nuge at center because I think he has to skate more and he has the puck more. And I think he takes ownership of his line more. So that would there's a lot of things when you're building lines, you can't just say, I think these two guys they play well each other. You got to figure out what are you trying to accomplish with this group? So if you truly want to get Kane with McLeod, in my world, then I would take Sam Gagne down to play beside Nuge and Fogel. What is this? 2015? Heyo. And then then you'd have so because then the big McLeod skates like crazy. He could play with Connor and Kane, and then I think Holloway,
Bunch
McDavid,
of lefties.
it is lefties.
That's
yeah.
the problem. I tried to edit on the fly, and then I realized, oh my
Yeah, they gotta
God,
figure
it's
it
all
out.
left shots
But
everywhere.
it's not a problem. I, as a lefty, played right wing my whole career. It's way easier offensively, way easier
Yeah.
being off wing.
Right. And once you get in the offense zone, you're wheeling and dealing, right? You're kind of interchanging.
What about on the
positions.
wall in your own end, though? Isn't it tougher?
It's tough for taking the puck off, yeah, but you just learn to body positioning, stuff like that.
Brownie is at the
But
far
it's-
blue line. Didn't matter.
Oh, in our end, I don't come back. I don't come back.
I think, Struds, I think you win the line game. I mean, I definitely lose the line competition tonight.
How does Struds? How does
agreed.
Struds win?
Yeah,
we
I
haven't
agree.
even seen tomorrow. He's a defensive defenseman. He's never
Yeah.
even been over the red line. They wouldn't
No,
let him
you're not-
skate across the red line.
Holy
Yeah.
smokes. You show this
Jesus
kind of
Christ.
hissy fit when you didn't get top power play
Jeez.
time?
Someone didn't have their chamomile
Yeah.
tea tonight.
Wow. The one
No,
time
actually,
I
just did.
actually
I just had one. My wife made one. It was really, really good.
the one time I actually praised Struddy a little bit, and Brownie goes snap show on the
jealous.
podcast. It's a level
But I
of
thought we had a
immaturity
thing,
there.
Ryan. I thought you and I had a thing, and we were always going to
time
just make fun of
now.
Struds.
Time now to get to the Weiss Johnson soundbox, Brownie. Weiss Johnson, heating and air conditioning. It's time to get that garage heated before winter, right? Enjoy the luxury of a warm vehicle or heated man cave this winter. Installing a garage heater. It also helps you if you have rooms over the garage that are always a little cooler. That definitely is the case in our house. We have a bonus room above the garage. And we love having the heater now because then the floor isn't as cold in the bonus room. Visit weissjohnson.com. Steve, play the jingle. I had all this carefully mapped out sound, and I was going to make it part of the show and really weave it in and story tell with the sound and all that. And then we just got arguing, and the whole plan fell out the window. So now I don't even know what we have here. It was some interesting availabilities down at the rink today, guys. They were pretty positive, right? I got there, they were having some fun on the ice. They were laughing. Like, there isn't like this 150-pound anvil on everybody's chest, and nor should it be that way. But we did start asking some questions in the scrums. One of the ones that I asked Jay Woodcroft was this idea of accountability, because I think we would all agree that some accountability across the board might do this group good to try and cut back on some of these mistakes. I flat out asked him, are you benching players in game enough to create that accountability? I flat out asked him.
Well, that's a good question. I think in a ideal world, it's easy to make those ideal assumptions. I think when you're sitting in some games, when you don't have that ability, when, as I said, I think in 2 of our 10 games, we've dressed less than the amount available to us, just for different reasons that have nothing to do with accountability. I think, but when you're in those situations, you can't kill people either. You can't ask them. I said there's a couple games there where we had 11 forwards, and in the first period somebody got injured, so you're down to 10 forwards. So it's nice to have that theory in a perfect world, but we live in a less than perfect world.
But a shift here, a shift there.
Shift there.
There's ways you can send messages.
Yeah, there are certainly. In the end, as I said, we haven't performed as a group.
Okay, it's a long clip, but I wanted to let most of that clip run so you could hear. And I did follow up with the idea that, well, just a shift or two. You don't have to bench guys for entire periods. Struds, what do you hear there from him?
Obviously it's measured. He's measuring his response because he doesn't want to say he will or won't do it. But I do think they're at the point where they need to, because it really grabs people's attention. Everybody knows when a player's been benched. Because if it's Rashad, Strudwick, and Brown, and the next time it's Rashad, Strudwick, and McDavid, everyone knows that Brown is sitting, right? And probably should have been sat weeks ago. So no, but in all seriousness, you do know, and I think it has a bit of a shock value. You can't do it every night, but Brownie, I do think there's a shock value that not just affects that player but the team.
Well, it's funny. The Oilers are going to play Vancouver tomorrow night. And last week, Rick Tocchet benched JT Miller for taking 2 penalties. He sat out the last 4.5 minutes of, I think it was the second period. He came back in the third period, scored the game-winning goal. So there was a message sent by the coach saying, all right, that's unacceptable. I'm sending you the message. I'm not benching you for the entire game, but he noticed, his teammates noticed, and he put him back out in the third period and said, all right, now show me how you're going to respond to it. And he responded in a positive way. So yes, there has to be accountability.
Yeah, and I think it needs to make sense for the players, right? Like if the only people that ever get benched are Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg, it's and the odd Vinny Desharnais one here and there. I think that's hard. You look at what other teams are doing. Like Gaudreau got benched the other night. Timo Meyer's gotten benched. JT Miller got benched. Like good players get benched because standards are high. And I'm not. Go ahead, Struddy.
Tuesday in the Toronto too has been benched.
Yeah, but
well,
exactly.
Last year, Tampa Bay, they benched their top line, Kucherov, Point, and Stamkos. Those are the 3 guys that just won back-to-back Stanley Cups. They got benched the entire period.
Yeah. It's tough, right? Like the day he sits Leon Draisaitl out for a power play or has Connor McDavid skip a shift, like, boo, not easy. And I'm not necessarily suggesting that that's the answer unless it's egregious. But, Draisaitl takes a really undisciplined penalty that hurts the team. You might have no choice at a certain point here. And as hard as that is to do, it's not comfortable. And I don't think he's done enough of it. I think the accountability needs to be high. And I think, yes, you can't healthy scratch people, but you can make these adjustments in game and they will make sense to the players. And then you get them right back out there, message sent. And I think that there's something missing on that front. Yeah, Struds?
I think you learn a lot about a player after he's been benched.
Yeah.
And not sat out, but benched. For instance, let's say Leon takes a bad penalty in Vancouver and he doesn't play for whatever it is. One shift will fire him up. It doesn't have to be a whole game. I would expect him to be absolutely pissed and come out guns a-blazing. That's what I think his response would be. And that's quite frankly what you want, right? That's what you're trying to get, a response from the player to ignite a fire inside them that maybe isn't burning bright enough as it is.
Brownie, do you think Leon would react that way?
I do. I do. I think he'd go out and score a goal. I do. Yeah. I think he'd go out, he'd score a goal, and he would go back and stare the coach down as he sat down. And just stare at him like, all right.
I dare you to freaking
but that's what you want.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. But that's what you want. And again, and you said it doesn't make sense to bench your 4th line guy. That doesn't send a message.
Doesn't do anything.
The only time to send a message is if you send somebody who doesn't get benched often. That's when the rest of the team looks up and go, oh, okay, I guess there is accountability. Now all of a sudden everyone's in line.
Even something as simple as having a guy skip a shift. Like you made the point last night, Struds, that resonates through that bench, man. Those players know what's going on.
They know.
Yeah, they know. Back to the Weiss Johnson soundbox. By the way, I've just been informed none of our jingles are working tonight, Steve. I'm not sure what's happening behind the scenes, but is it? I have the technology here, though. So we didn't run the Weiss Johnson jingle before. Tell me if you hear this on the YouTube stream. Weiss Johnson, all right, there it is. Hope you got that loud and clear. Let's hear Leon Draisaitl. I asked him about his own game because he's without a goal in 7 games. That never happens. So I flat out asked him.
Sort of finding in your own game, and what are you trying to find?
Just trying to find more offense, just try to create more. Again, no one seems to have that much confidence right now in our group, and that starts at the top, obviously, and we know that we can be an awful lot better.
Yep, he does. He knows. He went on to say that everybody needs to be better. It's a team thing. But I definitely sense accountability in Draisaitl. He knows the numbers are what they are, and you can't really hide from that. One other clip I want to get to here, guys. We talked about Dylan Holloway being benched, right? We talked about, Philip Broberg. Those are easy things. We were asking Jay Woodcroft today about Dylan Holloway and about where his game is at and where his confidence is at. And Jim Matheson followed up when he talked about the lack of confidence in Holloway's game. And Matty basically said, is it a coach's job to put a player like Holloway into positions where he can find his confidence? It was a great question from Matty.
Well, maybe. I think you would see that Dylan's numbers are up this year. I think there's been some games where he's played 15 minutes or so. But in the end, we have to perform, and we're in the position of trying to win games here. So Dylan's not alone in that group. There's some other forwards kind of in that grouping that really haven't found much offensive success. But when you go to opportunity, I go to the amount of minutes played, and I think Dylan's minutes are certainly up this year.
It's not just about minutes played for me. It's about messages sent to a player. And I think the message has been sent over and over to this player. You're not ready for more, and you're not going to be trusted in more situations. I think it's more about messaging than minutes, Brownie.
Well, it's also not just minutes when you're trying to breed offensive confidence. It's who you play with.
Exactly.
I mean, if you're playing 15 minutes a night and 14 and a half of those are with Ryan McLeod, who's got 0 points on the season, or 1 assist, I guess, whatever he has now, he's not a playmaker. And this goes back to what you and I have been talking about all season long. Dylan Holloway would have been in my top 6 at least 3 or 4 games this year, and let him find if he's capable of playing with them or not. I think he's got the skill set. I think he can flourish up there. And at the very worst, if he doesn't and Struds goes on, well, you don't want to ruin the kid's confidence. He's got none now, playing on the third line. Let him play up. Leon will bounce one off his shin pad. Connor will throw one off his skating in. And all of a sudden that 0 beside his name is a 1. And now you have confidence. Dylan Holloway needs more minutes with better offensive players to gain more confidence and become a better hockey player.
Guys, I've actually come around on this, and I think that I'm open to it. When I watch some other players play, like Poitras in Boston, or we've got a couple of younger guys there in Calgary, it's a fine line, though. I do believe you have to force your way into opportunities when you're a guy that isn't a clear-cut top 6. And, even bouncing one in, scoring one would have made such a difference in maybe moving them up. But with the team struggling like they are, I do think it's not like other guys are killing it. You can get them into that spot sooner. So I've definitely softened my position on that.
Yeah. And you made great points before, Struds, because the fact is, if you throw him up there for 5 games and nothing happens, well, now he might end up 2 steps further back than when he went up there. But you can't be afraid. He's a first-round pick. It's not like you're throwing a 6th-round scrub up there that hasn't shown it, right? And I think messaging-wise, promoting Warren Foegele ahead of him, back when Holloway was the better of the 3 of them, before Foegele really turned his game up, and then promoting Matthias Janmark ahead of him, that's messaging that I think it's not about minutes. It's about the message Dylan Holloway receives from this coaching staff. No second unit power play. None, right? And that messaging. So I think that's something that needs to be adjusted as opposed to just minutes. We're way over time, but we have tons of people on the stream. They're totally engaged. I feel bad keeping you guys a little longer, but we still have a couple more segments. So quick commercial break, and then we're going to come back and our last 2 segments before we wrap the pod. Okay, heroes, are you trying to tough it out through a sports or life injury right now? Trying to prove your mettle by grinding through, gritting your teeth? Well, Redefined Health is here to say it's time to come on in. At Redefined Health, they'll high-five you for your toughness and then get to work on helping you fix the problem. Helping athletes and heroes find better balance, performance, and injury prevention. Visit redefinedhealth.com. Long Shots Golf is the destination for both golf enthusiasts and sports fans. Top-of-the-line TrackMan simulators provide a highly entertaining and accurate golf experience, while a full-service sports bar loaded with big screens and scratch kitchen make it a truly unique destination. They have locations in Sherwood Park and Edmonton. Experience the best indoor golf and sports bar in town. Visit longshots.ca. That's longshots with a Z.ca.
If you're looking for a night out on the town and want to make sure you and your fellow fun lovers arrive safe and in style, call Ahmed Enterprises. With their stretch limos and party buses, they can accommodate groups up to 22. Servicing Edmonton and area, Ahmed Enterprises provides luxurious, reliable, professional transportation. Whether it be weddings, parties, casino nights, game night at the arena, or any occasion, Give them a call at 780-231-6018 or check them out online at ahmedenterprise.com. Mention Got Your Back sent you to get 10% off your luxury ride.
When you make a mistake, heads should roll. It's not right. And I'm here. Someone has to put their foot down. Now that I say it out loud, it does sound a little crazy.
God, I look good.
All right, time now for Struddy's World, brought to you by Pathfind. You like how I slipped the music in there, Steve? You like that,
I was
buddy?
going to test it to see if mine worked, and you beat me to it.
I beat you to it. Full production value on this end, pal. You're basically putting you out of a job here tonight. Pathfind is where Struddy's World is brought to you from tonight. So you know the value of a great employee if you own a business. Brownie, what are you doing?
Just call me when it's over. Just call me when it's over. I'm reading my Kodak Light Ring, how to use it in French.
Pathfind is there to help you find your next star player for you. They can take your business to the next level, right? They help with recruitment, career transition, leadership coaching. They truly have your whole team covered. Find your organization's path forward at pathfind.ca as I steadily fade the music out. Struddy, what's on the menu tonight, my man?
I love my wife, right? She's got and she's unique. She comes in with these different ideas and things. And I'm not gonna lie, guys. I'm trying not to be, but I find a little bit stuck in my ways. I'm trying to look out. So my wife earlier, about 3-4 months ago, she bought a leaf blower. I was like, oh my God, why do you get a leaf blower? It's another battery you have to charge. And of course, it's a different brand. So now it's a different charger. I've got chargers all over the place. Looks like I'm running a Radio Shack. But she got it. I started using one day on the lease. I'm like, okay, not a bad idea. I tucked that little nugget away in my head. So I say about, just towards the end of this the season when the leaves started dropping, I got the leaf blower out and I was blowing leaves all over the place. I loved it. I'm a raker. I've always been a raker. I spent a lot of money on rakes and I rake it all up, but this was a lot better. And the leaf blender was incredible. So that was day one. Then the next day I was in looking in my garage. I'm like, man, it's pretty dusty in here. Fired up the old, usually I use a sweeper. I've got a really nice broom. You guys know I go to Costco, quality brooms. I was sweeping out. No, I got the leaf blower out there, guys. It was unbelievable. Then it snowed maybe 2 weeks ago. Same thing, just a skiff, as they used to call it in Ireland. And I got the old leaf blower out. Boys, I was blowing that thing all over the place. Guys, I am literally now blowing everything. I am loving it. Anything that I need to get out there. I am absolutely loving it. The dust, the snow, the leaves, I'm blowing it, guys. So if anyone else wants to know what to do, it's the way to go.
That's the gem of the year.
There we go.
I am literally
I'm
blowing
glad
everything.
I stayed up for that.
I know it didn't come out exactly how I planned, but
You think that maybe that you didn't script that? That's not in a prompter.
I'm making my point. I do love a good. You start blowing, it's unbelievable.
Oh, buddy. Okay. Regroup here. I love my wife. Nice start. Oh, we love your wife too, buddy. She's amazing. Oh, you need to get someone to edit your scripts, pal. Holy smokes.
Point.
I take
Brownie,
everything back. Love Struddy's World. Love it. My new favorite show.
Okay, Brownie.
I just about fell out of my chair.
Where are you at on leaf blowers? Brad, let's bring this important segment full circle. Where are you at on leaf blowers, Brownie?
Well, I'm not blowing everything out there, so I use my lawnmower. I cut my lawn so it picks up the leaves because I don't want to ever have to come on the pod and say what Strud says. So yeah, I'm more of a lawnmower guys.
All right. Just mow your own lawn. Stay away from other people's, Brownie.
Yeah.
Actually, I have the blower, and I don't mind it. Used it for the leaves in the backyard. It can actually pretty aggressively organize the leaves for you and can definitely cut back on time. So I don't mind it. How much money are you spending on rakes, by the way, Struds? I've spent a lot of money on rakes was another great quote there.
I think I've bragged enough about my budget at Costco and the kind of rebate I get every year. I don't want to start throwing this around. People are going to be like,
oh boy,
Daddy Warbucks.
That was Struddy's World, apparently, brought to you by our great friends over at Pathfind. Okay, time now where we get you involved on the stream. All there is a bunch of LOLs right now. By the way, I think I'm supposed to tell you to, what was the phrase I used, Steve, that one night? It's the hit the love button. You gotta hit pound on that love button. Pound on that right. I think love button. Right. I think if you hit that a bunch of times in some internet way, it helps us. So I haven't seen any of the little hearts floating up tonight, and I think we're supposed to ask you to do that. So one more time, Steve. Pound on that love button. Time for Ask Us Anything, brought to you by Rini Bouclan. Shark of the Park. She's of Maxwell Devonshire Realty. Do you have the shark music too, Steve? Is that going to work?
I don't have the copyright-free awful shark music.
You don't have the awful shark? Okay, we'll give her the theme music then. Rini takes on only a select number of clients to give them a more personalized service. See why she was rated the #1 individual agent this past year with her skilled negotiation and 5-star client satisfaction, serving Sherwood Park, Edmonton, and surrounding area. You can give her a call, 780-994-0280. She's a diehard Oil fan. You'll see her on bus benches around the park wearing her jersey proudly. That is Rini Bouclan, Shark of the Park. Okay, Steve.
All right.
You'll have to scroll back above all the Struddy chirps there and to actually get to some meat to, some decent comments. So how are the people feeling tonight, buddy? Bring yourself in. Where are you? Let's see.
They're better now. Yeah, they're better now. Hey,
there
Robbie.
you are.
Nice to be down here. So lots of questions on the stream about the goalie coach. That's something that hasn't been brought up yet. Dustin Swartz, do you guys have any thoughts on his performance and, his job security at this point?
I'm going to sit this out too. Last time you guys did this, it was so good. You guys just do your thing.
Well, it's funny. We got that phone call on with Reed and I the other day, and we've had it a few times. To me, the goalie coach, if the goalies like the goalie coach stays. If the goalies don't like the goalie coach is gone. He's had some great success with some goaltenders here, and there's some goaltenders have struggled. I'm not sure what's happening this year is on Dustin Schwartz, but it's a thing. If the goalies like him, then he stays in the organization. I know nobody works harder than Schwartzy, and nobody's more intense than Schwartzy. I don't think the goalie coach is what's wrong with the Edmonton Oilers right now, but it's a fair question when the goalies struggle.
And he might have the hardest shot in the whole organization. Schwartz, he's got a hard shot. Yeah, you know what? I look at like the work he did with Mike Smith, and even, maybe not quite but Mikko Koskinen, I think the problem they had with Mikko was the contract, right? But he came from Russia. It wasn't like this was a first overall pick that came up 3 years later. Then, Schwartz kind of got what he got out of him. I don't know that I think expectations got too high when Chiarelli signed to that contract. I'll never forget the day that came down. I was dumbfounded. I saw it on Twitter. But yeah, so no, I don't know. I don't, unless there's sweeping changes to the coaches, or the head coach in the offseason, there won't be any changes to him.
I'm changing the rules on the fly here. You guys need to be fast with your responses. So Steve, blast them out. You two each, like 10 seconds max. Okay. And if you're too long, you're getting the whistle. Well, let's get her going here. Let's get more people, more questions involved. And you guys tighten it up. Go, Steve.
All right. Kevin Cormack says, can we open the discussion on Joel Quenneville? Is his NHL return possible? If so, what he did with Florida would be so refreshing here.
Quenneville's a great coach, fantastic coach, but he has to go through Gary Bettman first, whether or not he can coach again. So until you fire your coach here, you don't start talking about other coaches, but Quenneville's great.
Yeah, he's a good coach. I know that a lot of guys had him. I guess, would you want it? There's something around him now. There was an event that's around him. Do you want to bring that into this organization?
Andrew Joseph says, I think send McLeod down. No one will claim him and call up 3 minimum salary guys. Doesn't matter if none of them are as good as McLeod. They will bring flexibility and functionality to the team.
I might hit the whistle right now on that one.
Yeah, I realized halfway through that.
That's okay. No, we appreciate the ideas, but sending Ryan McLeod to the minors at this point is not. I mean, I don't think that's a realistic pathway to improvement.
Michael Sommerfeld says this is solely on Holland. He's made a short lineup. He refused to address the issue that cost him the series, goaltending, which is the last in the league in save percentage. Fire Holland right now. Get a goalie.
Yeah,
goalies. Go Struds.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about UC Soros out of Nashville. I like, you know what that's going to cost to get that guy out of there, and then to get to move one of your two current goalies. Like, dude, you got to talk a little bit of realistic world.
Okay, here's
I agree.
Sorry, go ahead, Brownie.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, little guy.
You haven't given your answer
That was
yet.
offside. By the way, an extension for Soros is what, like 9-10 million, by the way? Okay, keep going.
Okay, Kay says this is an interesting one. They lost Yamo, Barry, and Costin, the three most vocal and happy outgoing guys in the room. This group is really missing them right now. They're way too tense. Thoughts on that, Brownie?
Great point. That is the Oilers leaders, Leon, Connor, Nugent Hopkins, quiet people. They need loud. They lost a Mike Smith, a Costin. They did lose the loudness in their dressing room, and it does affect them.
Yeah, it's just guys that bring energy to the room and a little bit of unpredictability.
Okay, Dawson Nielsen says McLeod's been pretty good at taking draws this year, though. He's at 46%. He brought this up when you guys were talking about putting him on the wing. I wonder if he should play with McDavid, then move to the wing after the draw.
I wouldn't have him on the wing. I'd have him as my third line center. I have Nuge in the top six. I don't think the Oilers are deep enough without Brown and Janmark to go three lines deep. I think you'd load up your top six and then have McLeod centering the third line.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I could see that too. I think I'm just trying to add a little shock value, right? Just catch someone off guard and get them out of their comfort zone, because it feels like they're listless, right? So get people uncomfortable.
True.
Might
you got beeped.
This might have started as a joke, but it's picked up some steam. Is Koskinen available?
Yeah,
he's playing Lugano, I think, in the Swiss league.
Fair enough. All right. Bob's your uncle says Coach Q used an NHL adjusted hybrid system to win his cup, similar to what the Oilers are trying to use. He could walk in and not miss a beat. Would be playoff upgrade instantly.
Yeah, same answer as before on Quenneville, right? Like they did address some of the managers at one of their previous meetings, but bottom line, Brownie, you nailed it. They need to get that going through the league. Good stuff. Thanks, Steve. Solid segment, guys. You did a decent job. I have just one point I want to make, then we're going to wrap this pig. Stanley Cup expectations without any Stanley Cup champions. Do you think that bearing the weight of Stanley Cup expectations through the ups and downs and the weight of those expectations this year, guys, if they had somebody who had a couple, they had someone who, is that dressing room lacking that in some way? Would it be meaningful?
Yes, it would be meaningful. That's why every year at the trade deadline, the teams go out and look for guys that have won cups before, look for veteran type players to just fit in the dressing room, not to lead them on the ice offensively, but to be leaders in the dressing room. We did the Alzheimer's thing this year, Struds, and we had Brian Trottier. I got to interview him up on stage, and he talked about coming to Pittsburgh and being a leader in the dressing room and taking some of the pressure off of Mario. And they went on to win 2 cups with Brian Trottier in the dressing room, just helping out as a leadership type of guy.
Yeah, I like the idea of having someone who's been through it before to help guide and just give some guidance about what to expect and what it's like.
And not just a bit player, someone who's been in the limelight during a Stanley Cup, who would understand what it's like to be counted on in those moments. I wonder how much that might help this team right now, quite frankly, while you're facing some adversity with these kind of expectations. All right, that was Ask Us Anything. Final segment of the night. We'll make it quick. Brought to you by United Sport and Cycle, Edmonton's most iconic home for everything sports. It's definitely your home for hockey, from sticks and skates to masks and pads. They can get you outfitted and ready to dominate on the ice. Go visit them in store to check out their extensive collection of gear. Try before you buy. Getting fitted for new equipment or get a current piece of equipment repaired. That's unitedsport.ca. This is a no-brainer, Brownie. A no-brainer. Gem of the night tonight was...
Oh, Strud said he would blow anything.
No, I said I am blowing anything. I said I am with my leaf blower. Hey, guys, you don't have one. It's a game changer.
Steve, do you recall what the exact quote was? I mean, I don't expect you to be able to pull it up, although it's going to live
definitely
on
be
this
grabbing that
podcast.
after the show. Something like
All
I'll
right.
blow anything.
Yeah. Coming to a Twitter promo near you tomorrow. Oh, sensational. Guys, sorry I kept us a little long tonight. I apologize, but we loved all the action we had on the stream. Lots of people tuning in tonight. So much appreciated. Great job tonight, guys. And thanks to all of you for tuning in to Got Your Back. Thanks to our title sponsors as well, Sherwood Buick GMC. Great job, Steve-O, behind the scenes. We'll check in a couple of days. Well, actually, tomorrow night after the game, we're going to drop another podcast. So let's see what happens. Oilers and Canucks with a lot on the line. We'll chat after that one. Have a great night, everybody.